Hello and welcome to today's live broadcast. Today is Wednesday, March 21st. Welcome whether you are joining us live or for the rebroadcast. We are broadcasting both on Facebook and YouTube, so you are welcome to join us on either platform. Today we are going to be talking about insulin and why it is the hormone that we are not taking seriously enough. If you are new, I always ask that you take a second to hit that like button if you're joining us on Facebook, or that subscribe button if you are joining us on YouTube. That way you'll be notified when we go live and also when we upload new content. If you are joining us from YouTube and you're not getting the notifications that we are going live, make sure you hit that little bell button right next to the subscribe button. That way you will be in our notification stream as well. For those of you who are jumping on new with us, my name is Diane. I have been helping women find nutritional plans and fitness programs to help them look and feel their best and live their most authentic life for a majority of my adult life. And now I am a certified exercise nutrition coach, and I am helping women here in this community really figure out their bodies for themselves and how the nutrition and the environment that we live in and with really does affect our body and how we can be in control of that. So I always ask this as well if you're jumping on, because this is kind of a one-way thing until you guys give comments to me in the comment box. So you can do this both on YouTube and Facebook. Please leave me a comment. That way I know you are here. I can welcome you and then answer any questions or comments that you have. Always feel free to leave your input as well if you would like to contribute to the conversation. We will address that at the end. So if you were with us on Monday, you know we had a couple of problems with the YouTube stream falling off of where it is that we keep it here in our little video room. And so today I have you on a sort of a tripod over my laptop. So I'm gonna do my best to make eye contact with both communities. So you might see my eyes flicker up and down, but I want you to know that we're doing our best to make sure that I don't drop you guys anymore during our live broadcast. So if you're joining me on YouTube and Facebook, please make sure to give me some feedback on that. I want to make this as an enjoyable experience for you as possible. So insulin, it is that one hormone that the more I research, the more I'm realizing that is causing us women the most havoc, and it's probably the one that we are thinking about the least as we're going through these aging stages of perimenopause, hormonal imbalance, menopause, and postmenopause. And what I'm really finding in my research is that insulin seems to be that hormone that is the catalyst for all other things that start to really go haywire in our bodies. Before I go into some of the things that I've been finding and what I've experienced from my own body and how I think that you guys can start implementing this for yourself, I want to kind of briefly go over what the role of insulin is in our body. So as always, I have some notes with me. So again, don't mind me if I look down and just refer to my notes. I just want to make sure that we stay on course with the conversation. So insulin is basically a hormone in our body that increases when we take in nutrients. And I like to say nutrients versus calories because there's a lot of misinformation out on the internet that says that if you're under a certain amount of calories, it doesn't cause an insulin reaction. And if you stay within this amount, then you're totally fine. You can stay fasted. And that's totally false information. So I'm really going to refer, or try to as much as I can, refer to the reactions in our body that happen as we take in nutrients. So nutrients taken into our body cause an insulin reaction. So what that means is that insulin is released into our system, and that signals our cells basically to take in sugar and store it. And then that eventually is converted into fat in our liver. And that's how our energy system basically works. And that's the way I envision it for my own body chemistry understanding. And I really suggest that as you're doing your research, listen to someone who's speaking and then try to visualize your own body chemistry and how you feel and how your body responds to things. And that's really how I've learned how to understand my own body. So when we take in nutrients, We have an insulin reaction that creates our body's ability to store sugar, glucose, glycogen in our cells that eventually becomes fat in our liver. That's our energy system. So what happens when we start to take in too many nutrients and our body can't burn up that glycogen that's stored in our system is that we have cells that become overstuffed and they can no longer take in what is required to make our energy system function properly. Our cells, and remember, our cells are what keep us running. When we have damaged cells, we start to fall apart. When we have healthy cells that are doing the job that they're supposed to do, we're vibrant and living our life that we were supposed to do because our body chemistry system is working the way it's designed to work. So when we stuff those cells and they can no longer burn off of the energy or the stored glycogen or the stored fat, then what happens is we become insulin resistant. This is a very common problem with women and where we really start to get imbalance in our hormones. Remember, insulin is a hormone. We often become so over concerned with things like estrogen and progesterone and all the side effects that those things cause, and we end up going out and getting ourselves on hormone replacement therapy, which is a personal decision, and if that works for you, I think that's great. But what we're neglecting to think about is the other hormones in our body and how they're all associated with the female hormones in our body, which we tend to hyper-focus on as we start to go through these hormonal changes. Well, insulin affects all of those things as well. If you tuned in or saw Monday's video, we talked about insulin, how insulin and melatonin really work in conjunction with one another. And if one is off, the other one is off. We talked about how we suffer from insomnia when we start incorporating things like intermittent fasting, or we suffer from insomnia if we have too much sugar late in the evening, or we're suffering from insomnia if our hormones are out of balance. And that is because when we have too much insulin in our system, our melatonin naturally decreases. The less insulin we have in our system, the more melatonin we have, the better we sleep. So everything is working in conjunction with each other. Us women, as we go through this stage of hormonal change, we also start to feel these effects of this insulin inefficiency, I guess is the way to describe it, or the insulin resistance, which we've actually been suffering with, some of us 10 or 15 years. We just haven't had any symptoms show up yet for us to realize that we're having this problem. It's a very slow breakdown of our system, and it is the direct result of us overfeeding ourselves. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to overfeed yourself in the fact that you're over consuming calories or that you're stuffing your face. We're overfeeding ourselves through a period of time within our 24-hour period, meaning we're eating those 6 small meals a day. And if we go back to what the function of insulin and how it works in our body, that's where we get the overfeeding of our system. We eat, we have an insulin response. We don't have enough time to burn off what our cells have stored from that insulin response, and then we eat again. And then we have an insulin response, and then we store, and then we eat, and then we respond, and then we store. And slowly over time, we've created this system of stuffing our cells with this glycogen and the inability for our liver to now store the fat that we need, and we become insulin resistant. Insulin resistance is the first step to diabetes. That's why we go from insulin resistant to pre-diabetic to type 2 diabetic. Now, this is all insulin related. Melatonin and insomnia, insulin related. There's also new studies that are showing the direct correlation between insulin and cholesterol and heart disease in women, and that we're so focused and we're keeping our eyes so heavily on cholesterol in our system as being a marker for heart disease, when the reality is it's insulin, because insulin is that thing that is putting most of us women into that state of breakdown, hormonal breakdown, which leads to these metabolic disorders that we also start to pick up along the way, and a lot of these autoimmune disorders that we start to pick up along the way. And it all goes back to the fact that our cells, the things in our body that are supposed to make us work, are just so overworked and so overtaxed that they can no longer do their job. So we really need to start focusing on insulin as that hormone as women that we really need to be aware of and start to take control of. There are so many indicators and commonalities with insulin resistance and pre-diabetic states and diabetes and all of the other issues that we women are really suffering with in this day and age today. And it's a very modern type of problem that we're having because we have been trained to just constantly almost under nutrient our body, yet overstuff us. And that's that prolonged period of time of feeding, when in reality, we should have a prolonged period of time of fasting. If we think about the fact that as soon as we take in nutrients, we have an insulin response. So we have an insulin release of the hormone releasing in our system. Then we have the glycogen that's stored in our cells. And then we have the fat that's produced in our liver. If we think about that in the reverse concept, meaning what if we go a period of time where we don't take any nutrients in and we don't have an insulin response, then the opposite effect actually happens. And instead of stuff being stuffed into our cells and our liver being overloaded with fat, we have an opportunity to pull from that. This is what I call the food pantry, right? Our own body's food pantry system. We have this storage of glycogen and this storage of fat. And if we can train our bodies to efficiently draw from that by putting ourselves in a window of opportunity within our day to not create an insulin response in our body, then we can draw from that and we can declutter those cells and we can get them back to the point where they're functioning properly, and we can start to let our body's systems go back to normal. Think about a clogged dishwasher disposal. When you have food stuffed down in your garbage disposal and you're trying to run water in your sink, the water never drains down because everything in that disposal is so stuffed that you can't release the water. The same thing is true of the cells in our body. When they're so stuffed, they can't release anything. So we get this backup. And then we have this overproduction, what seems like in our system, of insulin because it's just not able to do its job properly. So what if we just create an opportunity for insulin to do its job and for our glycogen to work through its system the way it's supposed to, instead of just being stuffed and stored in our cells? That is done very simply by creating a fasted environment. This is again why I am so adamant when you're in the healing stage of your body and you're starting into intermittent fasting to heal the things that are going wrong with your body, that you really take advantage of the clean fasted state. Remembering that anytime we put anything into our system that can cause an insulin response, that hormonal reaction, then we've just taken ourselves out of that opportunity of pulling from that bank of storage that we've built up in ourselves. So it's a really simple concept to think about, but we tend to really mess it up because we forget to think about our bodies and we forget to think about how our body systems work. And we take in too much information from the outside, like butter coffee is okay in a fasted state, or you can have stevia because there's no calories in it, or apple cider vinegar and lemon is okay if you're fasting because it's not food. And that's absolutely not true. All of those things cause our body to have a reaction hormonally, which releases insulin, which starts the cycle all over again. Long-term effects of this are what is really scary for us women. So when we get to that point where we're maybe pre-diabetic or feeling insulin resistant or noticing that midsection belly fat that we're not happy with, those are those signs and signals that your body is screaming at you about, saying, hey, I can't work the way I'm supposed to work anymore, and my systems are backing up. And so visualize that. When your body fat around your midsection is backing up on you and it's never done that before, or you just have fat on your body in places you've never had it before, and you're exercising and you think you're eating correctly, or you're told that you're insulin resistant or you're pre-diabetic like I was, when I should have never been diagnosed with that because I was doing all the things that I was supposed to do. That was my body telling me I'm backed up. I can no longer clear the garbage disposal and let that water run out. My cells were jam-packed and they couldn't do their work anymore. This also leads into the stages that we talk about here a lot too, of autophagy and being fat adaptive. And there's this breakdown that happens in our bodies where we go from insulin resistant, we have all these metabolic syndromes and all these metabolic diseases that now are linked to things like insulin resistance and diabetes. We've talked about Alzheimer's disease and how it's called type 3 diabetes. Type 3 diabetes is just this whole situation that's gone so far out that now it's not just affecting how much fat we have in our body or how much energy we have or don't have or how we're sleeping or not sleeping. It's now shutting our brain down. That's how serious we need to take insulin and how we need to really start to learn how to manage it in our system and listen to those signs and signals that oftentimes our body is screaming at us, praying that we'll pay attention to it before we eventually break down to the point where we can't recover. Heart disease is on the rise for women. I saw some studies that said that there's 1 in 4 women who are now dying of heart disease. And they're no longer associating heart disease with the things that they associated with before. High cholesterol is no longer one of those things that is being associated with heart disease. It's insulin. And it's because of the slow breakdown of our body and the fact that our cells are just not working correctly and our system can't process through the things that we're putting into it. And therefore we start to have backup and blockage. So cholesterol is something that we need. It's vital to our health. It's not anything that's looked at anymore the way it used to, and we shouldn't look at it that way either. The medical industry is now looking at it in different ways, or at least researchers are, I should probably say more specifically. And it all is coming back to the fact that we are just a society that is overfed. So how can we as women fix all of this? The simplest way to fix our bodies is by just not overstuffing it anymore. Don't overfeed yourself. You do not have to go into a strict ketogenic diet. That is great for some people. Some people's bodies function very well on that. Most people that I know don't function well on a ketogenic diet. But you should at least be aware of the foods that are negatively affecting your body and the difference between starchy, processed, sugary carbohydrates and carbohydrates that are going to help your body function the way that you need it to function. You need to understand the purpose and place for high fats in your body and what high fats are going to do for you when they're in the good form, and understand the difference between good fats and bad fats. And you also need to understand that we are a very over-proteined society. Yes, we need adequate amounts of protein, but protein unused in our body also just becomes a problem. We don't need to constantly stuff ourselves with protein. Again, it's that overconsumption that we have been sort of brainwashed to live by because there's someone out there that's benefiting from us consuming a lot of protein. We just don't need that. The best way that you can really get in tune with all of this is listen to your body. If something is changing on you or something doesn't feel right, that is a communication system that your body has with you. And you really have to tune in and you have to listen closely. My husband had a really great analogy about how to really think about tuning into your body and listen to these signs and signals. And he was saying, it's sort of like when you're in your house and like the kids are playing upstairs and maybe someone's practicing their musical instrument and you got a TV on and the dog is barking and something in the kitchen is going off. And there's so much noise that you almost shut off and you can't hear anything. Then when you're in a house by yourself and it's quiet and you can hear a pin drop, that's where we have to get as far as the relationship that we have with our body and how tuned in we're going to be. You should hear when a pin drops in your body. You should hear when something shifts. You should feel it when something changes. That's your body's intelligence system trying to tell you to pay attention. Something's not working right and we need to make some adjustments. Again, this seems to be going back to insulin. Insulin being that thing that is just stopping us in our tracks as far as what we're trying to achieve with health and overall well-being. And to take it even a step farther, there's research that is now, calling cancer, a lot of cancers, mostly like breast cancer and brain cancer, metabolic diseases. Again, metabolic diseases are coming from the root problem of what's going on with our body with our hormone insulin. So if we can control insulin, there are certain cancers that we can also keep ourselves from having to deal with down the road because we're just taking those preventative measures. And that's all done through nutrition. Listen to the signs and signals that your body is sending you. Think common sense wise about some of the practices that you have been participating in. I did the same exact thing. I was eating, it's really hard for me to get women to understand why fruit is such a bad thing for us. And I'm going to do a live on this next week and why fruit is really the enemy, even though, yes, there's lots of great vitamins that you can get from fruit. But what fruit does once it's inside of our body chemically, especially for us women, is detrimental to everything that we're trying to do to cure ourselves. And it all comes down to the type of sugar that it is. And so think common sense. Think about who it is you're getting advice from. Test everything out in your own body and listen to the signs and signals that your body is sending to you and quiet down the noise enough that you can hear that pin drop when something goes wrong in your own body. The fasted state too is that thing that I know scares a lot of women because, again, of the information that we're getting out on the internet, that you have to go extreme with what it is you're trying to do, that you have to go days of fasting to get into autophagy, or you have to do water only fast, or you have to give up so much of your life to see these results. And I can tell you, you do not have to do that. Minimal fasting with a really conscious nutritional plan that when you put something in your body, you get the signs and signals that you want to get from what it is you just put in your body, is all you need to do to drastically change your health and overall well-being. We see it every single day in this community of women who are finally becoming their own scientists. They're finally becoming their own researchers. This is where we now have the power to take things back for ourselves. Become your own scientist. Become your own researcher. Don't be afraid to trial and error something. Don't be so married to one way of living that you are not allowing your body the opportunity to send you a different signal if you're going to try to incorporate something else. Medicine is not always the answer. It can be a short-term thing while you're doing some other things. But again, in this community here, we're seeing a lot of women completely getting rid of medicine, including hormone replacement therapy, because you would be surprised that if you control a hormone like insulin, how many other hormones in your body will actually now go back into balance. And a lot of those signs and signals that we get as we start to go through menopause eventually go away because we're balancing all hormones. We're not just looking at one or two and covering up signs and signals that our body is sending us. We're actually balancing them out. I teach this very, very simply, and I'm very adamant about what it is I really want women to learn how to do with their bodies. I want you to start to think for yourself. I want you to start to experiment. I want you to figure out how your own body chemistry works so that you know the difference between what's good in your body and what's going wrong in your body. You should hear the pin drop at all times with your body, so you have that alert system that lets you know that something is not going right for you, and you can make some changes, or you can go get some things deeply checked out and see what it is that you have going on. We do this in our course. It's amazing how we have been so accustomed and so trained to not think anymore. And we really need to get back to being conscious and thinking about how it is our body is designed to operate and not how we've been taught to operate. And you can only do that for yourself because you are your own body. Like I said, the ketogenic diet is not for everyone, but including good, solid, dense nutrition has never hurt anyone ever. And that's really what you should go back to. Get rid of the crutches, get rid of those processed things, get rid of all those fancy titled things like keto bombs and fat bombs. And yeah, those are fun to have occasionally. But again, those aren't those things that are going to help your body system get back to normal. And that's really where we want to get our body so that we can get to that healed state that we're hoping for. So insulin is a very serious hormone that we don't take seriously. I don't think we've been educated on it enough. I know I have never been educated on it enough. I just thought that it was something that was a problem for obese people and type 2 diabetics. I never thought that my female body, who has been training other women for years, and I'm a runner and I eat healthy, would ever have a problem with insulin. I'm not the atypical, type of insulin problem person. I was completely knocked off my feet. In hindsight, when I retrace my steps, it makes complete sense why insulin is a problem for me and why insulin will always be a problem for me and why it'll be something that I'm always focusing on and always researching and trying to improve in my own life. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and welcome everyone to YouTube really quick. Facebook, please leave me your comments. Please share your stories that you've gone through with this. I'm going to, because of the way my setup is today, so I don't drop YouTube anymore, Facebook, I'm going to have to reach up. So excuse my arm, and I'll welcome everyone to YouTube, and excuse my closed face. I have to lean in a little bit, and then I'll be right with you guys. Okay, so Robin, Kim Robinson from March class, welcome. Jill, I've joined your April class. Super excited. Jill, I can't wait to hang out with you. Christy, hello from Kansas City. Amy is in our April class as well. Patricia, thanks for talking about this. Oh, you're so welcome, girlfriend. Let me know if you have any questions. Renee, happy spring. Girlfriend, I am so happy. It is beautiful here in Texas. Lisa from Illinois, welcome. Bella, Jennifer, from Oklahoma. Rebecca from Lubbock, Texas. I was in the January class. Welcome back. Devlin from Hawaii, we'll watch later, no stable connection. Okay, awesome. Linda, snowy Queens, New York. I know, I'm so sorry. I feel so bad for my Northeastern people. Michael and I were actually laying out in the backyard a little while ago getting some vitamin D and enjoying the heat and the sun. So I hope you guys are done with that snow soon. It looks horrible over there. Amy, this makes so much sense. I was totally there. Body not working right at 51. This has saved me. Yeah, Amy, I was the same exact way. I would have never thought it was insulin. I thought it was estrogen and progesterone. I never thought that insulin would be the hormone that I had to be most concerned about. So it was very eye-opening for me. Tina from March, awesome. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Watching with my teenage son. Oh, that's awesome. Miss Dima, I think it is, from Nova Scotia, just about to eat dinner on my second day of keto, so interested in intermittent fasting. Awesome. Keto-like eating or keto-like nutrition and intermittent fasting are a great combination. Let's see. Veronica, I've been watching you sometime and incorporating I think IF with mostly keto diet. I really want to take your course, but my schedule doesn't calm down until May, so I'll be signing up that month. Awesome. And remember, the course is done on your time. It's not a live type of thing. We grew up at the same time. So once you register, you just have a 15-minute lesson every day, not super time consuming. So when you can jump in, we'd love to have you. Kathy, I've been watching about a week. I've been doing it for a few months. Thank you for your help. You're welcome. Kathy from Texas too. Awesome. And then Kim, new to YouTube, not in class. However, this is what I've been looking for. Awesome. Kim, we'll hang out here. We have lots of information. When you're ready to jump into the course, definitely feel free to do so. And then make sure you're subscribed so you'll know when we talk about future content over there on YouTube. And then keep the comments coming. I will go back and check up on you guys in a second over back on YouTube. Okay, Facebook, which friends are here with me today? Amy from Oregon, welcome. You're the first one on Facebook. Welcome. Debbie from January class, welcome from Murrieta. Joy is here. Catherine from Utah from our January class. So glad to be live with you. Catherine, we're so glad you're live too. Cindy, hello. Julie from Norco, California, August grad. Pam, how do you test for insulin? There's a couple tests that they do which can kind of tell you if you're insulin resistant, and that's a blood glucose test. And then they also do an A1C. So the A1C really is the more deciding factor on whether you're diabetic or not. And then blood glucose is usually how they can tell if you're insulin resistant. And so remember, those are just gauges. And the funny thing, when I went to my doctor when I did my physical, and I came back as my A1C was really high and I wasn't fasted. So she asked me to fast. And then I went back in and my A1C was even higher. And that's often the case when your body is sort of like messed up, I guess is the best way I could say. When it's in imbalance, your numbers can be really skewed for a while. So you can't get too freaked out, especially blood glucose levels when you start fasting can give you really high readings. And that just happens to be the process that your body's going through as it starts to become a fat burner. So you have to be very careful about the series and how frequent you go or you're testing yourself, because the numbers can be a little skewed and emotionally they can throw people off. So this is again where I always like to teach people to listen to the signs and signals their body is sending them. If you're feeling better and you're feeling good, then just stay the course until everything balances out, and don't let the numbers skew you, like throw you off too emotionally. Same thing with the scale. We ditch the scale on this community, because if your clothes are fitting better, you're feeling better, you're sleeping better, your inflammation is going down. And that's another thing with insulin. Insulin is a huge reason why we are so inflamed. It's that overproduction. It's the backed up cells. It's the cells not being able to do their job, and it causes everything in your body to become inflamed. Think again of that garbage disposal analogy and water not being able to go down that drain. Your body just becomes so backed up, and you just keep inflamed, and you're super inflamed, and everything's inflamed. And so that's where we again start to get all those autoimmune disorders, cancers, Alzheimer's, all of that starts to creep up on us because our body is just backed up and it cannot function properly. Get that insulin under control. One of the first things we notice in our course with our women is the inflammation starts to go down. The clothes start to fit better. The brain starts to clear out. The sleep gets better. Everything starts to click again once you can release that pressure from those cells in your body's system, and then everything will start working better again. So blood test would be blood glucose, A1C, and then just let it kind of work its way through the system till everything normalizes. Let's see. Leslie, hello. Tammy, hello. Dolores, hello. Jennifer from Oklahoma, Willa, hello. Cheryl, yep, overconsumption of food, not able to tap into fat stores. Absolutely. Dana from Illinois. Linda, September 2017 grad and alumni, January grad, Passion Planner Group. I love how you guys are so proud of where you've come along with us, and I'm so excited that you guys have been with us on several steps. So thank you for your dedication to the community. I find it fascinating that we have been eating in such a way for so long, and that has not been helping us. Grateful for IF and continuing to learn what is really beneficial to me. Okay, and I wore this shirt today specifically because the do nothing, embrace everything. Who knew? And I always come back to this. We've done so much, right? Meal prepping, Tupperware, plastic bags, insulated lunch bags that we took everywhere we went, the drinks, the elixirs, the pills, all this stuff we had to do. Like, who knew that doing nothing was the cure? Do nothing. Skip breakfast. Don't have a morning snack. Watch what you eat at night after dinner. Do nothing, and everything with your health will improve. The amount of time you choose to do nothing is personal. How deep do you need to heal? What kind of food intolerances do you have? What emotionally connects you to food? Can you get over that? It's very deep and it's very systematic, the steps that we have to go through to heal ourselves to get to that point of feeling comfortable in the state of hungry. where the magic happens. And it happens because we're doing nothing. And when we're doing nothing, we can embrace everything. That is really what I try to teach you guys in this course and in this community, this amazing community of women. Do nothing for once. We have been so busy chasing this false sense of success that we have to be doing everything, and we have to be perfect, and we have to have this, and we have to have this, and we have to measure this, and we have to count this, and we really don't. We don't. Just do nothing. And do things according to how you feel. Do things according to how you want to look. Do them moderately. Do them with some common sense, and then listen to the pen drop and see what happens to your life. And I really think that that is the magical cure that we all need to be able to get our health back and our life back, so to speak. Carolyn, can I be insulin resistant if blood tests show low insulin in the normal range? I think this is why insulin resistance takes so long to turn into diabetes is I think it is probably hard to detect in the early stages. So that backup is very slow. It's not, an overnight thing. So we're slowly breaking ourselves down. And if you've been around here long enough, I've shared my story about how I was lactose intolerant when I was an infant. And so I was fed sugar water as a baby. So I'm sure my insulin resistance started from infancy and has just been a problem for me my whole life. And when I look back at my food story, which is something I teach you guys how to do, and your life story and your birth story, for me, it all makes sense exactly why I ended up where I ended up 3 years ago. It started when I was drinking sugar water in my bottle as an infant, and it just built up over time. And I'm a California girl, and I've lived on fruit, and and I've done every diet, and I've done all of those things too. So it's a process of things that we've done throughout time. And I would say if you're feeling the signs and symptoms of being insulin resistant, then you're probably in the early stages, and it wouldn't hurt you to do the things to reverse it, because it can be reversed very simply, for sure. Karen, you look too cute. Oh, thank you. That was very nice of you to say. I appreciate that. Leanne, I'm in the mini holiday January 2018, the Passion Planner course. Thank you for all you do. I needed to hear this today. Oh, you're welcome. Christina, hello, March course member. Thank you for jumping on. Carolyn, so today I fasted 22 hours, but then over 8. Good foods, but way too many pistachios. So I decided this will be my only meal for the day. Yeah, when you notice that you're kind of overeating, that's a good time to just close your window. That's when I say don't be a clock watcher and tune into your body. If you feel like you've had enough food, if you're getting the signs and signals from your hunger hormones that you're nutritionally satisfied, don't watch the clock, close out your feasting window, start a new fast for sure. So good for you, Caroline, for noticing that. Karen, I read that we really don't need animal products. Yes or no. Some people would beg to differ with that. They say they feel better when they have animal products, and then there's other people that don't. So again, it's that thing that be careful what you read, test it out for your body, see where you feel your best. For me personally, I feel best when I moderately eat animal protein. I don't need it every day, and I'm beginning to really feel much more comfortable with that lifestyle. So I'm semi-vegan, I guess, but I don't follow any titled eating plan. I'm not vegan, I'm not gluten-free, I'm not dairy-free, I'm not paleo, I'm not anything except for me and the way I feed and fuel my body to make me look and feel my best. So give it up a couple nights a week and just see if you feel better. If you feel better, then maybe that's a good way for you to live, and if you don't, then add it back in. But everybody's so uniquely different. Carla from Sparks, Nevada, July 2017 class and January 2018 class. You go, Diane. This is the best regimen ever, and you changed my life from constantly dieting. I'm finally free. Carla, I'm the same way, girlfriend. I was exactly where you were. So it is a freeing thing, and thank you for being a part of our community. I totally appreciate you, and I'm going to keep the information coming at you guys for sure. Joy, what an awesome, helpful lesson. Oh, thanks so much for saying that. I appreciate it. Karen from Detroit, I'm signed up for the April class. Yay, I'm so excited. Lynn, March class member. I cut sugar out a month ago and sampled a small lemon square on the weekend. I noticed my heart rate increased right away and got a mild headache. Thanks for talking about this subject. Yeah, you're super welcome. It's amazing how when we get something out of our system and then we put it back in, even in the smallest amounts, what kind of reaction our body system gives to us. Pay attention to those. Those are the communication system that your body has with you, letting you know that what you're doing is not a good thing for it. Headaches, upset stomach, nausea, all those things should be listened to very carefully. And this is again why I really, really reinforce the idea of having a food journal, so that you can pinpoint very specifically those things that are causing you a problem. And that's exactly how I narrowed down one of my biggest hormonal imbalancers was soy. When there's so many people that are soy advocates out there and they say soy is fine, it's not fine for my body. And it was finally getting so finite about what I was eating that I was able to make that connection. And now I'm great, and I don't have any more of those reactions at all. Debbie from this is Debbie Spink, your cousin. Debbie Spink, Roberta. Okay, Roberta and Debbie are talking to each other. Awesome, you guys are cousins. That's cool. I have my cousins here too. Dolores, you'll be added. Maria, January course, snow here in Pennsylvania. I'm so sorry, girlfriend. Love hanging out with you and always learning. So sorry you guys are snowed in. Gina, hello. Michelle, hello. Mina, just catching at the end of this. Very important for me. I'm pre-diabetic. So Mina, catch it from the beginning. Lenan, hello from snowy Annapolis. Class grad from February and March group. Deborah, can insulin imbalance cause inflammation? Yeah, I think I just talked on that, so I'm probably sure you asked that before. Insulin is a huge cause for inflammation. So make sure you're getting that insulin under control, and you'll start to see the inflammation go down for sure. And insulin is that thing, inflammation is the direct connection that the medical community and researchers are making with cancer, Alzheimer's disease, arthritis, autoimmune disorders, all of those kind of things that are slowly breaking us down, metabolic syndrome, all of that, those associated problems as well. So inflammation and insulin go hand in hand for sure. Hello from Michigan, Deborah. Nelly, I'm so grateful to you, Di. I couldn't lose weight for about 7 years. I'm so sorry, girlfriend. I exercised so much, starved myself, and continued to gain weight until I found you. Did your course, learn how to educate myself, lost 22 pounds. It's a process of feeling very much at peace and balancing out hormones. Being tuned in with our bodies, going in for my March blood test, excited to see how much more I've healed. Nellie, please make sure you keep us posted on those blood test results. I always love to get those back from you guys. And thank you so much for sharing what you've experienced in our course. And I'm super excited for you. 22 pounds and you weren't able to lose weight for 7 years. It's so frustrating. I know I was in the same place, but mine was only 3, thank goodness. Cheryl, so freeing, glad you think so. Christine, hello. Sometimes I close a window when I feel satisfied, but then get super hungry a few hours later. Is my window too short? It might be what you're eating. Maybe think about putting some more healthy fats in your feast and see if that satiates you a little bit. And then check back into how many carbs you've been putting in. Carbs usually are that thing that make us feel hungry when maybe we're not really in need of more nutrients. So, and that's just because we're not nutrient satisfied. Carbs usually don't do that for us, especially if they're the starchy kind or the processed kind or the sugary kind. So go back to your food journal, look at what you did, and then see if you can pinpoint what might be causing that hunger for you. Maybe make yourself a cup of tea, maybe have some sparkling water. When you're at the beginning of a new fast, that's really when you have the room to experiment with some things, like maybe a cup of tea. Yes, if it will throw you out of a fasted state if it's flavored, but again, it's at the very beginning of your fasting state. It would be better to do that to try to satiate you than to do it in the morning when you're middle level of fasting and it's a little deeper right there. So play with it a little bit and then let us know how it works out for you. Kendra, my hormones have been off lately. Kendra, you have to remember you're in that stage of healing because of just being in a childbearing kind of situation. So your hormones are going to constantly be changing. Hopefully they're changing in a good way. Off could sometimes mean that they're shifting and they're just trying to rebalance back out to a new good place. So stay the course, stay positive, keep talking to yourself, do your prayers, do what you got to do, get you through those difficult days, and then before you know it, right around the corner will be a really fantastic day and you'll feel like your hormones are back on again. Dolores, been trying over 2.5 weeks, haven't really lost, but holding at one number would be like trying to lose. You want to lose 10 pounds. Yeah, your body won't lose the weight until it's hormonally healed. So just keep hanging on there. Kendra, I'm trying to fast more, watch what I'm eating. I had some cookies with soy lecithin, and again, it put me out. My lower back goes out. It's crazy. Okay, so Kendra, that soy thing, you gotta ditch it. There are some good cookies that you can add in if you just want a little treat. The Enjoy Life brand and the Simply Mills, I believe, are really two good cookie brands of the kind that we have for our kids, and I'll have one every now and then. There's no soy in them, there's no gluten in them, there's no funky things in them, and they'll satisfy a sweet tooth for you. So Simply Mills, I believe it is, and Enjoy Life chocolate, no soy lecithin. Soy lecithin will throw you out every time. The longer you've been fasting, the better you've been feasting, the more intense that soy reaction is going to be for you. So just know that as well. How do we get the insulin back in control? The best way to get your insulin in control is fast. And that just allows your cells the opportunity to empty themselves out and go through the cycle that they need to go through, and so they're not blocked up anymore. Deborah, so you want to fast for sure. Kim, do you say flavored sugar-free water throws us out of a fasting state? Yes, it does, for sure. Deanna, hello from the March course. Karen, interested in finding out how to join. Okay, Karen, you were just sent a link, so make sure you check that out. Laura, I was diagnosed with insulin resistance after starting intermittent fasting in January. I have so much energy now, right? And I don't experience carbs, sluggishness like I did before. So exciting. Yeah, Laura, it's an amazing feeling. Catherine, newbie and ready for April course. Thank you for all you do for us. Oh, Catherine, I'm so excited to hang out with you. Ellen, wedding ring also fits again when inflammation goes away. Yes, that is so true. And if you follow us on the IF Keto Family Like page, Michael shared with you guys all how his entire foot size went down when he got rid of his inflammation. So he had he's had some, what is it called? A plantar fasciitis and some gout, kind of combination of the two at the same time. And when he reduced his inflammation, all of that went away, and he actually decreased the size shoe that he has to wear. So it's interesting where we hold our water, that's for sure. Lisa just signed up for the April course. Excited to have you. Jan, hello from England. Welcome, girlfriend. Kim, new to YouTube, not in class. However, this is what I've been looking for. Awesome. Kim, you should check out our course for sure. The link is in the comments. Okay, cool. I think I got all the YouTube people. Awesome. Okay, so here's the deal. Insulin is the hormone we need to be paying more attention to. We need to be educating ourselves about it. We need to understand what it does for our body and to our body, and how we have the power to control what insulin is doing in our body. The best thing you can do to get rid of your insulin resistance and reverse any kind of diabetic state that you are in is allowing your body an opportunity to drain your cells of the blockage that they have in them because of what we've been doing with the overeating, the overcarbing, the overproteining, and just constantly stuffing ourselves with food because that's what we've been trained as the way to manage our weight and be healthy. It is not. Another thing that I want you guys to think about when we talk about inflammation, if you want a lean body, you achieve that through proper nutrition. If you want a healthy and fit looking body, you have to incorporate exercise for that. The beautiful thing about exercise and nutrition when you get it right for your body is that you're working from the inside out and the outside in at the same time. And regardless of what age you are, you can have the body that you want and the look that you want to achieve if you start to really understand what nutrition is doing to your body and how managing that can lean you out by getting rid of that inflammation, and then what you do with your exercise will help you be functionally fit and healthy, and then you'll get the perfect combination of two. We're going to start working on a little bit more of the exercise aspect of this with fasting over the next month or so. Thank you everyone for joining me today. I'm excited for all of my people who are jumping in with us in April. It's going to be a super fun course. Michael and I's 18th wedding anniversary is in April, and we're going to be spending some time in Mexico. So you'll be coming along with us to Mexico in our April course, which is going to be super fun. figuratively, of course. And if you have any questions, you guys know I am an open book. Please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. Make sure that you get on our email list. We are sending out Friday recipes, the things that I make for my family that are super easy to make and help you keep on that keto-like lifestyle without having to worry about managing calories and managing macros. Thanks for joining me. We will not be having a live on Friday on Michael's page because he's going to be in Texas. We're in Texas. He's going to be in Austin this weekend. Thursday and Friday, they're going to SMU for a final college visit and interview, and then Saturday and Sunday they will be in Austin, Michael and Logan doing a college tour down there at UT Austin. So no live on Friday for Michael, but I will be back here on a Monday with you guys, and I think I'm going to talk about the fruit situation that I went through and why fruit is causing us so many problems as well. And then make sure you're following me on Instagram. I'm posting a lot about what I'm doing with exercise and food over there as well. Have a super weekend, you guys. I hope you guys stay safe over on the East Coast where you're getting all the snow. And for everyone else, enjoy your weekend. Have a really good time.